Hello friends. Today we'll discuss about very important topic, that is National Education Policy 2020, its evaluation, basics of NEP 2020 and the fundamental principles. After 34 years, the 140 crore people of our country got the new education policy. The new education policy. And the education plays very important role. Education plays very important role not only for nation building, for the development of the individual. That's why Vivekananda says education is the panacea to cure all kinds of social maladies and socio-political or economical difficulties. That's why after independence, the government of India has taken a lot of the steps with the collaboration of state governments to provide education at everybody's doorstep. Just after independence, just 1 year after independence in 1947, the first Education Commission was set up by Government of India under the chairmanship of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the President of India in 1948. After 4 years of the first Education Commission of the post-independence India, India set up another commission that is called the Mudaliar Commission or Secondary Education Commission 1952. Similarly, one of the important milestones in educational history of India, that is the Kothari Commission, or which is popularly known as the Indian Education Commission, which was formed in 1964-68. The commission was headed by Dr. Daulat Singh Kothari. And on the recommendations of and suggestions of Kothari Commission, India got its first national policy on education in 1968. And in 1976, another important constitutional amendment has been made. Under the 42nd constitutional amendment, education is enlisted in the concurrent list. That's why now education is a joint responsibility of both center and state. After first education policy in 1968, another historical national education policy was brought by Rajiv Gandhi government in 1986, that is known as National Policy on Education 1986. And the policy was again revised and modified in 1992. Since then, after 34 years, we got the first national education policy of the 21st century. Let us discuss how this policy was emerged and evolved. In 2016, during the government of your Prime Minister Narendra Modi, TSR Subramanian Committee was set up, and in 2019, Dr. K. Kasturirangan Committee submitted its report regarding the your national education policy, and which policy was approved by the Union government on 29th July 2020. What I have told you in May 2016, Committee for Evaluation of the New Education Policy under the chairmanship of late TSR Subramaniam, the former Cabinet Secretary, submitted its report. Based on this, the MHRD prepared some inputs for the draft National Education Policy 2016. 2016 ମସିହାରେ TSR ସୁବ୍ରମଣ୍ୟ ସ୍ୱାମୀଙ୍କ ନେତୃତ୍ୱରେ ଗୋଟିଏ କମିଟି ଗଠନ କରାଗଲା ନୂତନ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପଦ୍ଧତି ବିଷୟରେ, ଏବଂ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଡ୍ରାଫ୍ଟ ତିଆରି କରିଥିଲେ. In June 2017, the Committee for the Draft National Education Policy was constituted under the chairmanship of Dr. K. Kasturirangan, which submitted the draft National Education Policy 2019. I want to say here that this National Education Policy 2020 is a milestone because this is the one of the popular education policy of our country. Because before implementing this policy, National Education Policy 2020, the government seek the advice, suggestions, constructive opinions of the public. Around 2 lakh suggestions came across the country from 2.5 lakhs gram panchayats, 6,600 blocks, 600 ULBs, and 676 districts. I mean, this policy is popular because the policy was checked out and also implemented on the recommendations, suggestions of the public. It means that the will and pleasure of the public, the opinion of the public has been reflected in the National Education Policy 2020. aku ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଲୋକପ୍ରିୟ ଶିକ୍ଷାନୀତି କହିବି ଏଥିପାଇଁ ଯେ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ମତ ଅନୁସାରେ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଅନୁସାରେ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ଯେଉଁ ପରାମର୍ଶ ଅନୁସାରେ ଅନୁମୋଦନ ଅନୁସାରେ ଏଭଳି ଏକ ନୂତନ ପଲିସି ଆସିଛି ଯାହାକି ନୂଆ ଭାରତର ସ୍ୱପ୍ନ ନେଇକି ଏ ପଲିସି ଆସିଛି ଟୁ ବିଲ୍ଡ ଅପ୍ ଦ ନ୍ୟୁ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ନ୍ୟୁ ଭାରତ Nava Bharat. Okay. So let me discuss, and this policy was approved by the Union Government or Union Cabinet on 29th July of 2020. Since then, the policy has been you are implemented in our country. Let me discuss what is the vision of that NEP 2020. The NEP 2020 envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos that contributes directly to transforming India, that is Bharat. ଭାରତର ଯେଉଁ ନୂଆ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପଦ୍ଧତି ଏକବିଂଶ ଶତାବ୍ଦୀର ପ୍ରଥମ ଶିକ୍ଷା ନୀତି ଯାହାକି 34 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଭାରତବର୍ଷ ଆମ ନିକଟରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିଛି ତାର ମୂଳ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ ହେଉଛି ଭାରତର ଯେଉଁ ସାଂସ୍କୃତିକ ବିରାସତ ଅଛି ଯେଉଁ ଆଧ୍ୟାତ୍ମିକ ଚେତନା ବା ପୃଷ୍ଠଭୂମି ଅଛି ଭାରତର ଯେଉଁ ଜ୍ଞାନ ପରମ୍ପରା ଅଛି ସେଇ ଜ୍ଞାନ ପରମ୍ପରା ଆଧାରିତ ଏକ ଶିକ୍ଷା ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ପ୍ରଚଳନ କରାଯିବ ଯାହାଫଳରେ ଏକ ନବଭାରତ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେବ ଏକ ବିକଶିତ ଭାରତ ବା ବିଶ୍ୱଗୁରୁ ଭାରତ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେବ The education system that contributes to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. The policy, the National Education Policy 2020 dreams to make India the knowledge superpower, vibrant knowledge society, to establish a vibrant knowledge society and to make India the knowledge superpower in the globe. ଯେମିତି ଅତୀତର ଇତିହାସକୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଆଲୋଚନା କରିବା ଭାରତବର୍ଷ ଜ୍ଞାନ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ଜ୍ଞାନ ସଂସ୍କାର ସଂସ୍କୃତି କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ବିଶ୍ୱବିଦିତ ବିଶ୍ୱବନ୍ଦିତ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ପୁଣି ଥରେ ଆମର ସେଇ ଯେଉଁ ପୂର୍ବ ଗୌରବ ଫେରାଇ ଆଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଏ ନୂଆ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପଦ୍ଧତି ଭାରତବର୍ଷକୁ ଜ୍ଞାନ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ସୁପର ପାୱାର କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁଛି develop a deep sense of respect toward the fundamental rights, duties, constitutional values, bonding with one's country, and a conscious awareness of one's roles and responsibilities in a changing world. अर्थात ए शिक्षा पद्धतिर उद्देश्य होची भारतर संविधान अनुसार भारतर जो मौलिक अधिकार अच्छी मौलिक कर्तव्य अच्छी सांविधानिक मूल्यबोध अच्छी एसबू को सुरक्षा सहित प्रतिरक्षा सहित लोक मैंने जब से निजर मौलिक अधिकार संबंध में से जापर बुझीपारे निज देश प्रति जो अनुरक्ति जो प्रेम रेशभक्ति रही जड़े जड़े जो सचेतन नागरिक भाव में निज दायित्व को संपादन करें एवं केवल देश कथा नुहे विश्व कथा भी चिंता करें विश्व नागरिक भाव में कार्य तुलेबे से कथा को गुरुत्व देते आउ द न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इंस्टिल्स 3 वेरी इंपोर्टेंट थिंग्स स्किल्स वैल्यूज डिस्पोजिशन नॉलेज अर्थात ज्ञान सामर्थ्य एवं मूल्यबोधर विकास होची नूतन शिक्षा नीतिर मुख्य उद्देश्य and this education policy stands on 5 pillars. What are the 5 pillars? Accessibility, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. These are the strongest pillars of National Education Policy 2020. Accessibility means every child, every people can access to the educational system. Education should reach at everybody's doorstep. Equity refers to fairness. Equity means that the government should ensure to provide inclusive education. All people should be included, or inclusive education should be provided to all people, irrespective of any diversity, irrespective of any discrimination. Besides, high quality education is the promise of National Education Policy 2020. Another two things have been added in the National Education Policy 2020. First one is affordability. It means that education should be cost effective. That's why every citizen, every child can get education. And very important thing that accountability. If the government or if the stakeholders are unable to provide education, the high quality education to the children, they will be accountable. So responsibility has been fixed. Accountability has been fixed in NEP 2020. So, NEP 2020, if you discuss about the chapterization, there are the four parts of NEP 2020. The part 1 covers the 8 chapters, chapter 1 to 8, that deals with the school education. And part 2 covers chapter 9 to 19, which speaks about the higher education and teacher education. Part 3 covers chapters 20 to 24, which speaks about other key areas and focus. And the last part has the chapters like 25 to 27. It means it has 3 chapters, 25, 26, and 27. And it speaks about making it happen. How can the education policy be materialized at the ground level? That has been explained in your part 4. Let us discuss the today's another part is the guiding principles of National Education Policy 2020. In page number 5 of National Education Policy, it clearly explains about the 22 guiding principles of National Education Policy. The most important guiding principle is that recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capacity of each student by sensitizing teachers as well as parents to promote each student's holistic development in both academic and non-academic spheres. ସବୁଠାରୁ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କଥା ହେଉଛି ପିଲାର ସାମର୍ଥ୍ୟ, ପିଲାର ଶକ୍ତି, ପିଲାର ଯେ ଲୁକ୍କାୟିତ ଗୁଣାବଳୀ ଆଧାରିତ ଶିକ୍ଷା ହେବା ଦରକାର ଅଛି। ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କୌଣସି ପ୍ରକାର ଜବରଦସ୍ତ ତାଙ୍କର ଅନିଚ୍ଛା ସତ୍ତ୍ୱେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପ୍ରଦାନ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରଥମ ନୀତିରେ ହିଁ ମାନେ ସ୍ପଷ୍ଟ ଭାବରେ ନୂତନ ଶିକ୍ଷାନୀତି ବା ଜାତୀୟ ଶିକ୍ଷାନୀତି 2020 ସେ କହୁଛି ଯେ ପ୍ରଥମ କାମ ହେଲା ପିତାମାତା ମାନଙ୍କର, ଶିକ୍ଷକ ମାନଙ୍କର ପ୍ରଥମ କାମ ହେଲା ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଯେଉଁ ଲୁକ୍କାୟିତ ଗୁଣାବଳୀ ଅଛି, ସ୍ୱତନ୍ତ୍ର ଗୁଣ ଅଛି, ଯାହାକି ହିଡେନ୍ ଆକାର ଅଛି, ତାକୁ ସେ ଉନ୍ମୋଚନ କରିବେ, ତାକୁ ଆବିଷ୍କାର କରିବେ, ତାକୁ ସ୍ୱୀକୃତି ପ୍ରଦାନ କରିବେ ଏବଂ ତାର ବିକାଶ ପାଇଁ, ତାର ଉନ୍ମେଷ ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରୟାସ କରିବେ। ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦି ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ୱାନ୍। ଯଦି ଏଭଳି ଏହି ନୀତିକୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ ସଠିକ ରୂପେ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକାରୀ କରିବା, each and every child will be the unique child and each and every child can contribute to the country for the nation building. No problem at all, because they will work, they will educate on the basis of their hidden quality, their unique quality or their uniqueness. And the second thing is that, very important thing, the principle is that the highest priority to achieving foundational literacy and numeracy, that is called FLN, by all students by grade 3. So, ଏଠାରେ ସବୁଠୁ ବଡ଼ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କଥା ହେଉଛି even now around 5 crore children of our country are unable to achieve the foundational literacy and numeracy. What do you mean foundational literacy and numeracy? Foundational literacy and numeracy refers to the foundation knowledge, foundation literary competency, and foundational number system numeracy, addition, subtraction, your multiplication, division. अर्थात देशर आज मध्य प्राय 5 कोटी पिला तांकर मौलिक साक्षरता ज्ञान तांक पाखरे नाही, तांक पाखरे अंक ज्ञान बा कोन संख्या ज्ञान नाही। तेणु नूतन शिक्षा नीति चिंता करिछि 2030 मसिया भितरे ग्रेड 3 पर्यंत सबु पिला जेमतिका फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी एंड न्यूमरेसी हासिल करियो। दिस इज अनदर गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल. Another thing is that flexibility. Now here the most important education, the principle of NEP 20, that is flexibility. Education follows the principle of flexibility, means that learners have the ability to choose their learning your trajectories and programs and thereby choose their own paths in life according to their talents and interest. It is संपूर्ण रूपे नमनीय करा जायछि पिला माने निजर सामर्थ्य अनुसार, शक्ति अनुसार, निजर धी शक्ति बा निजर इच्छा अनुसार जे जीवन मार्ग को से चयन करेंगे एवं से मेधा शक्ति अनुसार इच्छा बा आम कह रुचि अभिरुचि अनुसार जो पाठ पढ़ार सुजोग देवा एवं विकास होबार सुजोग देवा ताले पिला माने निजे निजे स्वावलंबी स्वाभिमान हो पारे एवं नूतन शिक्षा नीति से कथा ही कहूँ. No hard separation between arts and science, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams, etc., in order to eliminate the harmful hierarchies among and silos between the different areas of learning. सबुठु गुरुत्वपूर्ण कथा होची एबे जो नूतन शिक्षा पद्धति करिछि ए जो स्ट्रीम अनुसार जो डिफरेंशिएशन थिला आर्ट्स, साइंस, कॉमर्स, इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल ए सब जो थिला एबे से कोन करछन सब माने जो कोनोसी प्रकार हार्ड सेपरेशन करने करिकुलर एक्टिविटी जेतिक मूल्य अच्छी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटी से ध्यान दिज्व आर्ट्स को जी ध्यान दिज्व साइंस अर्थात ये कौन कर गोटे एमती मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन करने नूतन शिक्षा नीति 2020 कहूँ जे गोटे पिला जब तार पॉलिटिकल साइंस भल हो फिजिक्स भी भल हो पॉलिटिकल साइंस भी पढ़ी पार फिजिक्स भी पढ़ी पार सेपटे म्यूजिक भी पढ़ी पार ये हूँ मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एक्टिविटीज गोटे सुंदर सिस्टम व्यवस्था कर तार नेक्स्ट प्रिंसिपल कहूँ मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एंड ए होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन अर्थात एक होलिस्टिक पूर्णांग शिक्षा एक समग्र शिक्षा आ गए मल्टी डिसिप्लिन बहुविध व्यवस्था करिछि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 सो मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एंड होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन अक्रॉस द साइंसेस सोशल साइंसेस आर्ट्स ह्यूमैनिटीज एंड स्पोर्ट्स फॉर ए मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी वर्ल्ड इन ऑर्डर टू एनश्योर द यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ ऑल नॉलेज सबू ज्ञान क्षेत्र में भितर संगति एवं जो एकाग्रता आने एकत्र करने मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन सिस्टम कथा कहुई आउ गुरुत्वपूर्ण प्रिंसिपल हूँ एम्फासिस ऑन कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग रेदर देन द रूट लर्निंग और लर्निंग फॉर एग्जामिनेशन आज आम जब परीक्षा पछरे गोड़ाऊँ अंक पछरे गोड़ाऊँ नंबर रैंक ग्रेड सिस्टम पछरे गोड़ाऊँ नूतन शिक्षा नीति 2020 कहूँ पिला भितर बोधगम्यतार विकास हम अवधारणा गुड़िक तो कनसेप्ट अच्छी कनसेप्ट पिला बुझे गोटे से बायहाट करेंगे ना घुसबे ना अंध भाया घुसबे ना भितर अंडरस्टैंडिंग कैपेसिटी को बढ़ाई पड़े पिला कनसेप्ट को बुझे जानवे केवल परीक्षा प्रिपरेशन है जीवन प्रिपरेशन है Another most important principle is that is the creativity and critical thinking to encourage logical decision making and innovation. पिलांगन भितर इनोवेशन बा अभिनव पद्धति चिंता करने नुआ कथा चिंता करने निजे निजे निष्पत्ति नापी भितर जो रेशनल थिंकिंग डेभलप करने निष्पत्ति नबार सक्षता बढ़ाई भितर सृजनशीलता एवं विश्लेषणात्मक शक्तिर विकास कर डेभलपमेंट द क्रिटिकल पावर क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग creativity of the students. That's why they can be decisive, they can be innovate, many more things. And another most important thing that ethics and human and constitutional value. The students, the education should inculcate and cultivate the social values, ethical values, human values, or constitutional values like empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit, spirit of service, respect for public property, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, equality and justice. पिलांग भितर ये भाया भाव जागृत हो सब गुण गुड़िक जो मानवीय गुण अच्छी जीवन जीवन कला कौशल अच्छी ये सब विकास हवा दरकार है द मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट प्रिंसिपल ऑफ दिस NEP 2020 is that it ensures it promises to promote the multilingualism and the power of language in teaching and learning. आपण माने जानिचंती शिक्षा पद्धति भाषा उपर बेसी गुरुत्व देछि आंचलिक भाषा मातृभाषा घरोई भाषा सहित एवं अन्यान्य भाषा जो आमर प्राचीन भाषा थिला जो आमर शास्त्रीय भाषा अच्छी शास्त्रीय भाषा सहित आधुनिक भाषा 3 लैंग्वेज फॉर्मूला उपर बेसी गुरुत्व देछि जाको कोठारी कमिशन कहिथिले ताकू NEP 2020 अति माने सटीक भाव में कार्यकारी करिया पे कहिछि एंड अनदर थिंग दैट लाइफ स्किल्स डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द लाइफ स्किल मु सब कहे जे आम परीक्षार सफल जीवन विफल कोटि ना कोटि आमर जो जीवन कला कौशल ना हेतु आम परीक्षार विफल हो परीक्षार सफल है सत्वे जीवन विफल हो जहाँफल विभिन्न प्रकार हिंसा जो आत्महत्या अशांति चापग्रस्त मनुष्य डिप्रेशन एभलिया हो तेणु सी कहूँ नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 टू प्रमोट द लाइफ स्किल एजुकेशन एंड द लाइफ स्किल्स लाइक कम्युनिकेशन कोऑपरेशन टीम वर्क resilience. So these are the life skills to be developed through education policy or the education. Another thing is that your principle of National Education Policy 2020 is that focus on a regular format-based assessment for learning. It discourages the coaching culture. It discourages the summative assessment. It emphasizes on or giving priority to the formative assessment. ये फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट कथा कहूँ जे पिलाटा को केवल 6 मास को थरे कि वर्ष को थरे परीक्षा करके नंबर देकी तांको भितर प्रतियोगिता करबा अपेक्षा निरंतर पिलार मूल्यांकन करा सेमानकर समस्त गुण को आचार व्यवहार पाठपढ़ा शिक्षा संस्कार सबु कथा को जेमिति पिला मानकर मूल्यांकन करा जाय परिबो एवं पर्यवेक्षण करा जाय परिबो सेतिबे नियमित फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट कथा कहूँ NEP 2020 आउटे बड़ कथा होची जे दिस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी emphasizes on extensive use of technology आमको अधिक रु अधिक आज वी हैव टू compete with the world. We should cope up with the world. This is the this is the era of the technology. This is the era of artificial intelligence. So the education policy emphasizes the technology integration or integration of technology in teaching and learning process, and it also emphasizes removing any kind of the language barriers. It focuses Divyang students, the physically challenged students, how can they can also access to educational institutions, they can benefits through the technology. So it emphasizes sign language also, right? And this education policy, in another principle, it emphasizes on respect diversity. Unity in diversity is our culture. यूनिटी इन डायवर्सिटी आवर रिफर जे विविधता मध्य एकता हूँ आम संस्कार आम जीवन मूल्य आम जीवन पद्धति तेणु केमिति भाव में जो विविधता मध्य एकता को सम्मान दि जाई परिबो से ऊपर कहुई रेस्पेक्ट फॉर डायवर्सिटी रेस्पेक्ट फॉर लोकल कंटेक्स्ट इन ऑल करिकुलम पेडागोजी पॉलिसी ऑलवेज कीपिंग इन माइंड दैट एजुकेशन इज इन कंक्रीट लिस्ट. Another thing is that full equity and inclusion. I have already told you this policy when I was discussing about these pillars of NEP 2020. Equity and inclusion are the main milestone or cornerstone of education policy. All children, irrespective of the diversity, irrespective of disparity, should involve in the educational process. They should come to the school educational pattern, they have to bring to the mile, or you can say mainstream of the country, right? So another your policy, another principle is that synergy in curriculum across all levels of education, from early childhood care and education to school education to the higher education. And next is that it emphasizes on the teachers, empowerment of the teacher, dignity of the teacher. Teachers and faculty are the heart of the learning process. It says the teachers are the heart of the learning process. Without teachers, without the committed teachers, professional teachers, teaching and learning process cannot be successful. शिक्षक मान होचंती शिक्षण प्रक्रियार हृदय व आत्मा सदृश. तेणु नूतन शिक्षा पद्धति तांकर चयन व्यवस्था संपर्क नियुक्ति संबंध में सेमानु केमिति तांकर कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग करा जाय से ऊपर गुरुत्व दउछ. अर्थात टीचर्स आर द बैकबोन ऑफ द एजुकेशन सिस्टम. They are the heart and soul of the education system. That's why proper recruitment, capacity building, professional development, positive working environment, and service conditions should be ensured for better education. And the next principle is that a light but a tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency, resource efficiency of educational system through audit and public disclosure, while encouraging innovation and out of the box ideas through autonomy, good governments and empowerment. ये शिक्षा पद्धति संपूर्ण माने वन नेशन वन एजुकेशन ए नीति रे काम करिया पई प्रस्ताव देछि. माने सारा भारत रे केमिति भाव रे संपूर्ण शिक्षा व्यवस्था को एकत्रीकरण करा जाय परिबो, स्वच्छ करा जाय परिबो एवं किबरी भाव रे माने आमे कहूछ जे दृढ़तार सहित सब व्यवस्था को सठिक रूपे करा जाय परिबो एवं स्वयं जो ऑटोनॉमी दिया जाय परिबो, भल सरकार गुड गवर्नमेंट्स भल प्रशासन व्यवस्था करा जाय परिबो ता ऊपर मध्ये फोकस करूछि. ता सहित द एनईपी 2020 फोकसेस ऑन आउटस्टैंडिंग रिसर्च यह कौन करुच्ची ना गवेषणा उपर बेसी गुरुत्व देछि. कारण अधिक रु अधिक गवेषणा हेले ही अधिक रु अधिक रिसर्च हेले ही आम शिक्षा व्यवस्था विश्वस्तरीय हो पार. आम विश्वर विभिन्न देश सहित प्रतियोगिता कर समकक्ष हो पार. ता सहित द मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ दिस एनईपी 2020 इज दैट rootedness and pride in India. It means that this education policy are digitalization of mind, humanization of the heart. अर्थात आम पिला माने तांकर मस्तिष्क तांकर ज्ञान ज्ञानात्मक जो कॉग्निटिव डोमेन अच्छी ताकू भी विकास करिया दरकार अछि टेक्नोलॉजी माध्यम रे विज्ञान माध्यम रे एवं ता सहित जो मानव मूल्यबोध अच्छी ताकू केमिति हे परिवो ना भारतीय जो संस्कृति अच्छी भारतीय जो ज्ञान परंपरा अच्छी आमर जो संस्कृति परंपरा अच्छी ता आधारित शिक्षा. इट मीन्स दैट द नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 emphasizes on education system on Indian knowledge system. So these are the different your characteristics of national education policy 2020. In short, we can say National Education Policy 2020 focus on children not only learn but more important learn how to learn अर्थात ପିଲାମାନେ ଖାଲି ଶିଖିବେ ନାହିଁ ସେମାନେ କିପରି ଶିଖିବେ ତାହା ବି ଜାଣିବା ଦରକାର don't simply they may not imitate others they simply by heart something rather they should know how to learn how to think what not to what to think how to think and nature of education means education must move towards the less content more towards learning. It means that it emphasizes on more learning rather more teaching. It emphasizes more learning and about how to think critically, how to solve different problems, how to be creative, multidisciplinary, how to be innovate, adapt and observe new materials in novel and changing field. That should be the nature of education emphasized by National Education Policy 2020. And so far the pedagogy is concerned, this education policy focus on the pedagogy must involve to make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, learner centered, discussion based, flexible and of course enjoyable. अर्थात ये शिक्षानीति कहूची जे पिलांक भितर अभिज्ञता भित्तिक जो माने आविष्कार भित्तिक बा आलोचना भित्तिक शिशु केन्द्रिक नमनीय एवं जो आनंददायक शिक्षा जमी संभव हो पार से बेस गुरुत्व दौर नूतन शिक्षा पद्धति 2020 एवं करिकुलम सहित आम चिंता करवा इट सेज करिकुलम मस्ट इनक्लूड बेसिक आर्ट्स क्राफ्ट्स ह्यूमानिटीज गेम्स स्पोर्ट्स एंड फिटनेस language literature culture and values in addition to science and mathematics to develop all aspects and capability of the learners to make education well rounded useful and fulfilling to the learner ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ସର୍ବାଙ୍ଗୀନ ବିକାଶ ପାଇଁ ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କର ସମଗ୍ର ବିକାଶ ପାଇଁ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅଲରାଉଣ୍ଡର କରିବା ପାଇଁ କ'ଣ କରାଯିବ ନା ଗଣିତ ବିଜ୍ଞାନ ସହିତ ଖେଳ ଭାଷା जो साहित्य संस्कृति मूल्यबोध ये सब विषय कौन करा शिक्षा दिया सो दिस इज रिगार्डिंग टुडे व्हाट आई हैव टोल्ड यू दिस इज रिगार्डिंग द कॉमन प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 and the next video will be the national education 2020 and school education. Dear friends, if you have any doubt and difficulties you can share your views and your constructive criticism also and constructive suggestion in my your YouTube channel. Thank you all.